So I arrive at the hotel. I'm sad. I will admit that. I didn't really want to be there. But I got settled. You know, I knew I had to be there, so I settled myself. First couple of days was just a lot of crying and a lot of pouring out to God, just really a time of pouring out, just talking to Him, wondering what it was He was going to say to me and what He was going to do in these 7 days that He had called me away. One thing I think for me, great memory was so interesting about this time. I don't know how many of you have ever seen the movie Castaway, but if you remember that movie, Tom Hanks had a buddy in the movie that was not a human being, it was a ball, and he named his friend Wilson. Well, for me, while I was away, you know, there was no one to talk to and it was just me, and I'm praying a lot, but I ended up taking a chair and it was very therapeutic. I put this chair in front of me and me and that chair became buddies because that chair was where Daddy was sitting. And that's how I talked to the Lord, and it just became really interesting. But what I want to tell you is that while I was there, God really wanted to confirm for me that He had called me away, that He had purpose for me being away. One of the things I didn't even realize was that I needed to be replenished, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that I was sort of burnt out and sort of overwhelmed from that last 3 years that I had just talked about. I didn't know because I had spent a lot of time, in my opinion, you know, getting myself together physically, health-wise, and I was working out and I was eating right, but there was another way. There was another place that I didn't know. There was some wounds inside and some pain, some grieving that I hadn't done for my lost loved ones, and the Lord wanted to deal with all of that. So, but what was really interesting was, I think it was the second or third day that I was there, I heard on the news that there was going to be a major snowstorm. So of course, you know, I'm thinking, here I am, away by myself. I don't have anybody here to shovel my car out. I don't have anybody to clean my car off. I don't have anything to clean my car off with. But it is what it is. So after it snowed, you know, I got up that morning and I said, well, you're going to have to go out here and confront this and take a look at your car and see what you need to do. And when I got out there, I thought my eyes were deceiving me. I thought something was wrong because as I looked out over the parking lot at all these other cars, they all had 3 or 4 inches of snow on them, and my car had no snow on it. And I have the pictures to prove it. And it was as if God was saying to me, didn't I tell you that I was with you? Didn't I tell you? So He literally gave me a modern day miracle. How does a car in a snowstorm not be covered in snow? So then I'm thinking, well, I still have a little snow, you know, around the car. I've got to back the car out. So I just sort of look around in the parking lot. I'm trying to see, is there anybody else out here? And there's one man out there. He's out there walking around, and he had a shovel over his shoulder. And I looked at him and I said, hey, excuse me, sir, do you work for the hotel? He said no. And I said, well, do you know if the residents here at the hotel, are we responsible for getting our own cars out, or does the hotel take care of that? And he said, no, ma'am, I'm sorry, the hotel doesn't take care of it. Why? Do you need to get your car out? And I said, yes, actually I do. He said, no problem, I'll take care of it. Now keep in mind, him and I are the only 2 people out there. If I had gone out 5 minutes sooner or 5 minutes later, I wouldn't have seen him. I know God set that moment up. So sure enough, he comes over to my car. He gladly shoveled out the back of the car just so that I could back it out and park it into a clean space. And I even tried to pay him. He wouldn't take the money. He wouldn't take anything. Can you imagine what happened when I got back into my room? I danced all over that room. I was jumping and shouting and screaming, thank you, Daddy, thank you. You want me to know that you're with me. And I'm getting emotional right now. It was such a special moment. And that chair, you know, my chair was sitting there looking at me. And I was like, God is with me. He's here with me. And it was just an amazing experience. So here I am. I've been here now. I'm on my 6th day. It's been amazing. God has been showing me tremendous favor. He's become Daddy God to me in a way that I've never experienced before. I've heard other people refer to Him as Daddy, but that wasn't just something that I did. I just never did. But these days, He became Dad to me. So on the 6th day, He's talking to me and downloading some things into my spirit. And of course, after 6 days away, I'm expecting some huge revelation. You know, I'm thinking I'm going to get 15 new songs. I'm going to write 7 to 8 books. Instead, He gave me 1 word, not 2, 1. He told me that I was His. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So I pulled out my journal and I started writing his all over my journal because I started thinking maybe I'll have a personal logo or something that says his. Who knows? But so I'm writing it all kinds of ways, crosses and this and that. And he said, no, you're mine, I'm his. So I got up. He instructed me. He said, get up now. I want you to go. So I got up, got dressed. He said, go to the mall. It's not what you think. But for me, you know what I wanted, but God had another plan. So when I got there, he told me where to park, what door to walk in, everything exactly how he wanted me to do it. And I ended up outside of the store, Things Remembered. A lot of you probably know that store. But when I looked up and saw Things Remembered, I didn't see things, I saw God. And he said to me, God remembers. So he told me to go inside. I went inside. And I ended up actually getting a bracelet that I'm wearing right now that has engraved on it, God remembers. Because he began to share with me that he doesn't forget what we do. He doesn't forget our labor of love. He doesn't forget the seeds that we've sown. And he just began to download into my spirit that this was a season that he would be remembering his servants that have done certain things for him. So while my bracelet was being engraved, I looked over and I saw this beautiful necklace. And he said, get that too and put his on it because you're mine, Sharon. So this was the beginning of something very interesting, you know, this whole his thing. So I'm thinking that's how I'm going to sign my emails now, all of my letters, everything. That's my signature, his, Sharon Dean. Bracelet, necklace, everything, all things his. I belong to him. So interesting. Well, I get back to the hotel, I get back into my journal, and I realized that wasn't all God wanted. That was just the beginning.